in this lecture, we are going to make sure that we render the list of the items when added in this particular count. So when we add a list, it should not only show the number, it is also going to render the table containing the list. So let's get started. So down here, let's create a heading. All right. So now you can see we have the heading. Next thing to do is we are going to create a table. So we'll begin by adding the table head. So that's going to be in form of table row. So the headings goes like this. We have the first one, which is going to be name. That is name of the item. So we're also going to have the second item. Down to the last one. So let's use the action as the last column. All right, so now we have the table head. Next, we are now going to deal with the table body. So here, let's try to just wrap everything using the head like this. So below this, we are now going to do the work in the T body. So within the T body, that's where we are going to start with use of 4 components in Leptos. All right. So let's get started. So this is how you do it. So you now come down like this. So the advantage of 4 component is the 4 component is Leptos way of looping through a collection. It creates one table row for each inventory item. So now we are going to get the current list of inventory items. So whenever the list changes, this loop automatically updates. Next, we are going to tell Leptos that each item is uniquely identified by its ID. So after this, each item from the list will be available using variable item. So we are going to use let item like this. Okay, so now we are done with the for. We are moving forward. So now we are going to create one table row for a single inventory item. So let's display the item's name. So we'll now display the remaining things. This is the item's quantity. Then we are also going to display the price of the item. So this is the price of the item. But the thing is that this price of the item, we have to change the way we display it. So we'll have to display the item's price with exactly 2 decimal places. So this is how we are going to do. So this is going to help us to display it in 2 decimal places. So after that, we need another column, which is going to be for the action as we specified it here. All right. So now let's open this. All right. So first of all, we need to add the button, which is going to be used to remove this item from the inventory. So this is going to have on click. So the on click we are going to use is going to be move. So here you're now going to close the button opening angle bracket. So now we are going to add the processes. All right. So need to save the current items ID. We will use it to find and remove the correct item. So after that, we are now going to update the inventory list. So make sure you add semicolon at the end. So now we have to make the remaining code in here. So this is it. We are going to use this statement list dot return. All right, so what we just did now is that this retain, all right, you can see I use word retain here. So retain keeps only the items that satisfy the condition. So here we keep every item whose ID is not equal to the ID of the item being deleted. In other words, the selected item is removed. So that is the essence of this. So now you remember we created the button. This is the opening tag of the button. We need to close the tag. So we use close button like this. So inside, we are now going to add the string on the button, which is going to be delete. So now we are through with everything. So next thing to do is we are now going to allow the system to compile, but you know the changes will not happen until when we open the browser. So now let's wait for it to finish compiling. So the build have started. So let's just wait a bit, therefore it finishes off before we see the changes. So now let's start from the beginning. From the top, you can see we have this, which is item.price. So that's at where we are trying to display the price of the item. So now let's check it out. That is line 104. This is it here. So there is a mistake here. We need to remove this. Then you now put comma like this. Then for the price, since we have opening tag here, we need to close it here. That's the round bracket like this. Okay, so now we have fixed this particular error. All right, so after that, now we come across another error. So let's try to work on it also. So this is line 83. So we have the header. This supposed to be closing tag H2. So I made mistake. I added H1. Here you remember we open 4. So we need to also close it. So to close it, this is where we open it before the table row. So we need to also close it after the table row. So come down here. So this is the reason we're having that error. So now let's compile it. Let's wait for the builder to build the changes. Therefore, we can now check out to see the outcome. All right. So let's go back to the browser. Let's try to test it out once again. So now you can see it generated the empty table. The header also we created. So the first item, let's say we have car, quantity 10, then the price 10,000 like this. So you can see now we have the item displayed, and it also shows the count. If I have something like candy, quantity 5, then price, let's say 2,000. So I press, you can see. So after this, let's say we have something like book 60, then price something like this 2,000 or 20,000. So I click add item, then you can see the table is there. All right. And also with the use of the reactive components, when I click on delete, you can see the item is deleted without reloading the page. Likewise, this also. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture.